Welcome to the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the almighty B-Live, the money man Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative Eddy Kool. The Sports Bros Podcast, by the fan, for the fan, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. We talking sports. It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. It's time once again for your favorite sports podcast, none other than the Sports Bros Podcast. Our listeners can't see it, but I'll make sure I'll post a video of it. Look what I won earlier last week. I got a belt. I got me a belt. I got me a championship belt, won the Fantasy Football League, and I just figured this is the first public outing with me and my new prized possession. But nevertheless, enough of me talking about fantasy football and me doing winnings and everything. Good God, Scottie D, what is that? Boy, he is
game face.
That is his game face. And with that being said, let's go ahead and introduce two of the best coaches in the world. Introducing first, the almighty B-Live, the man that shares studios.
What happened? Hold on.
Not what happened.
Scottie D, I wish. Okay, we'll find a way to make this on the video because that just scares me. I thought Scott's face alone scared me,
Wow.
But what's happening? What's going on in the world today? Scottie D has his game face on, getting ready for his Sunday matchup against the Packers, and we'll get into all of that. But Scottie D, I'm gonna go ahead and post on YouTube that this is not made for kids because you don't scare kids with that. You don't scare kids with that. So I'm gonna stir the pot. Uncle Max, you out there? Yeah, it's going down this coming weekend. Super wild card weekend, and now you can go ahead and introduce the other guy, and I'm gonna figure out a way to lower my blood pressure after dealing with him already today. Yeah, that's where we're at. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As I put my trusty championship belt over my shoulder, and the other guy, he is the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania. He'll be graduating Scottie Cum Laude, Waynesburg University. He is the one, the only, the money man, Scottie D.
Nodding my head like, yeah. Moving my hips like, yeah. I got to be happy today. What can I tell you? It was out of reach. The NFC East was completely out of reach. It was gone. The Eagles were 10-1. The Cowboys were floundering with a loss to the Arizona Cardinals. All hope was lost. And yet, here we sit today. The Cowboys, the number 2 seed. Oh, my goodness. Let's just talk football, Eddy Kool. Enough of my incoherent rambling. Tee it off. Put this on the tee. Let's get into this NFL thing, because it was quite a weekend.
Yep, you know what? I just realized something. We're like the original Kings of Comedy. We're like the original Kings of Comedy.
They had a white guy?
No, but you in there though, Scottie D. You are definitely said the entertainer because you keep stealing everybody's jokes.
Oh,
now you're incoherent rambling, and who is we? And we won. That you was definitely said the entertainer. Eddy Kool is definitely Steve Harvey because
what
the
your
hairline.
ass say?
the hairline.
I'm gonna tell you this. I don't know why. I don't know where. But I'm gonna kick your ass. Keep it up. I don't play.
Godfrey needs to be stopped, by the way. And me, I'm still alive, so I guess I'll be DL Hughley. But
I don't know. What about the guy that played Big Perm? That should be you. What's the big?
He's not an original King. No, what we're not going to do is, you know what?
Faison did catch it straight.
There we go.
I'm going to go ahead and Amtrak this thing. Let's go ahead and hop right into it before we cuss each other out. This is not Club Shake Shake. Let's go and hop right into it.
He did not call me.
Let's go and hop right into it. The top of the order. All right, let's get this thing started. Here it is, the top of the order. All right, y'all, let's get this thing together. The playoff picture, it is set. A lot has happened this weekend to get us where we are. So, fellas, with that being said, in your opinion, start with you, Scottie D, what result was the most unexpected?
Well, as a guy who lives in Western Pennsylvania, I did not think the Steelers were going to be getting into the playoffs, and it was more of a build from a couple weeks than just this particular week. But I really thought that they were dead in the water. They had just lost a Thursday night primetime game to the Patriots, who had only had 3 wins. They lost again to a 3-win Cardinals team the following week. They dropped a game to the Colts that they could have won on Saturday afternoon. And then Mr. Trubisky went to the bench, never to be seen or heard from again. And in comes Mason Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, for the Christmas holidays. And the Steelers have put together a couple wins. And so for them to sneak into the playoffs, a team who was in control of their division early and had that terrible slump in the middle of the season, and then for them to finish like they did. And they needed one of two things to happen on Sunday. They needed the Bills to lose or the Jaguars to lose. And the Jaguars, with Trevor Lawrence back in the lineup, also lost, enabling the Steelers to get in. So a lot had to happen for the Steelers to work their way back up into the playoff picture, and that happened. So I was not as surprised that they won the game on Saturday with Lamar Jackson sitting and the Steelers on a little bit of a roll, but I was surprised coming in that the few weeks leading up that was the end result, the Steelers getting in. What about you, B-Live?
Well, I'm gonna ask you this question before I go into mine, because this is the lingering question in your area. Do you stick with Mason Rudolph or do you go back to Kenny Pickett?
I don't think you can go away from Rudolph at this point. I think you have to ride the hot hand at this point. You can't, because even when the Steelers were at one point, no, they were 7-3 or whatever with Pickett, but they were not scoring. It was the least happy fan base I've ever been around of a team that was like 7-3.
Wow.
All you were hearing while the Steelers were winning games is fire Matt Canada, fire Matt Canada. They hated this offense. They hated the coordinator. That happened. And then business didn't really pick up at the quarterback position. Then Pickett gets hurt. In comes Trubisky, and they really hit rock bottom. And this is the happiest they've been in a while now, because they've actually scored some points. They won a couple of games. So you can absolutely not at this point go back to Kenny Pickett. Now, at the beginning of next season, yeah, I would think you probably would. You know, you may have a little bit of a quarterback controversy in camp, a little competition. Trubisky got to go. Obviously, you can't let him write another word on your page of your story here. He's got to be gone. But at this point right now, with the team having won, 3 in a row, I think now, with Mason Rudolph, I think it'd be foolish to go away from that.
They would, because we even said on this show that they were about to get rid of Mike Tomlin if something didn't happen, and we almost wrote him off.
And now we're hearing extension coming up for him.
Man, it's a miracle to see where the Steelers are at right now, and then they get to travel all the way to just a little
Buffalo,
bit up the road, just a little bit up the road to Buffalo.
Yeah. And that's a tough order there, but at least they have gotten there.
Right. Well, I'm gonna flip the script, and I'm gonna bring it over to the NFC when it comes to my most unexpected outcome. But one of them, I'm gonna say the Jaguars. Come on, bro. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit about the Jaguars, because I was listening, and Scottie D, I hope you have the notes to what our preseason picks were, but golly, we were just there's a lot of wrongness going on. There's a lot just wrong. This right here, one thing that we what happened to the Eagles? 10-1 on top of the world, and they go 1-5 to finish off the year. They lose the division. They're now the number 5 ranked team. They got to go on the road to Tampa Bay, and the way they lost, 27-10 to Tyrod Taylor. And man, the injuries are piling up. AJ Brown got hurt in that game. Jalen Hurts got hurt in that game. Will Jalen Hurts' finger not be hurting? Will AJ Brown be healthy to travel? And Devontae Smith, Darius Slay, and DeAndre Swift, they didn't play at all, nor did what's my all-world offensive lineman that they have.
Jason Kelsey,
No, not the center.
Lane Johnson.
Doggone it. It was in my notes. It'll be all right. Again, they're the offensive, but there was one key player that was out. It'll be all right. No matter. But the momentum, when we talk about momentum in football, is almost everything. That's the momentum that Pittsburgh had. That's the momentum that Jacksonville doesn't have. And that's the momentum that the Eagles clearly do not have going into this postseason. Ugh. For them to overtake that a lot of people picked to win the NFC, woo, they got a long road and they got a lot of answers, a lot of questions that they don't show that they have the answer. Eagles, what were you doing week 18? Just the body language, it was like a dead team walking out there. Y'all did you not want it? Did you not care? Did you just think that the Cowboys were going to beat up on the Commanders, which they did? And I believe Ron Rivera got fired, but
he got fired.
Yeah, we saw that one coming a mile away.
Yeah,
the Eagles. Whoo, these next few days are going to be rough on them. Eddy Kool, what was your most unexpected outcome?
The damn Jaguars going into Tennessee, they had one job, one thing to do: win and get in. The Colts lost. Okay, you got it out the way, no problem. And they went in there and lost to what could possibly be Derrick Henry's last game as a Tennessee Titan. You lost to the freaking Titans.
Derrick Henry said, "Hey, but if the Titans ain't gonna re-sign me, I got plenty of gas left in the tank." That, what, 160 yards?
Yep.
He said, "Hold up, wait a minute, let me put some stank on." I'm like, come on, bro. Oh, yeah, I ain't gonna do that.
No, you good. It was a job audition for Derrick Henry. Like the Jaguars, they had one thing to do. Like I don't. Like, I understand the injuries happen, but like I think we all predicted. It's like this. Here's what we did predict. We all predicted the AFC South to be won by Jacksonville.
Yep.
We didn't predict it to be won by the Houston Texans, the 10-7 now Houston Texans. I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. If Kevin Stefanski does not win Coach of the Year, it has to go to DeMeco Ryans because they are cooking. The Texans are cooking on all cylinders, and the Browns got a road game against the doggone Texans. That's going to be a.
And speaking about the Texans and clearly the unanimous rookie of the year, the person that didn't pick him as the #1 draft pick is also fired. Scott Fitterer. Get him out of here.
Is that out of here?
God, man. CJ Stroud was supposed to be a Panther.
Yeah.
Or if you had your way, Anthony Richardson.
I never picked Anthony Richardson.
You said that was who you wanted for the Carolina. We have it on tape. Eddie said he wanted CJ Stroud. You said you wanted Anthony Richardson.
Will Levis. Pull up the tape. I said Will Levis. I did not want Wish.com
Cam Newton.
You see how quick I know what I said about Anthony Richardson.
I do too, because I made fun of you for it a couple times already.
58% completion rating in Florida. No, I do not want Timu Cam Newton. I would like Cam Newton. I want Cam
Eddy
Newton.
Kool, what's a barber say? Next. What's our next topic?
What's a barber say?
I'm gonna knock your eyeball the next time I see you.
I love it. All right, so we officially
you can't catch me.
Oh,
I'm gonna be out here like Cat
Williams. I do.
Can't catch me, big perm.
We gonna fight for real. When I see you.
All right, so we officially know the results of the regular season. But how did it stack up to those predictions that B Live mentioned that we made in August? Because in the words of B Live, it was a whole lot of wrong. And Scottie D, did you take the time to write those predictions down?
Yeah, I got them here for us. And as you mentioned, we all took the Jaguars. in the AFC South, we were all wrong.
Mm.
We all took the AFC West. We all took the Chiefs. That was a winner. In the AFC North, B-Live took the Ravens. Eddie, you and I both took the Bengals. And Joe Burrow burrowed his way out of that prediction. Before you get too happy there, old B-Live, you also chose the Jets to win the AFC East.
I know I did.
Along with Eddy Kool, and I had the Bills correct in that one.
I know I did. I knew where you was going with this. Terrible. It was a terrible pick.
All right. Well, while we're on the topic of terrible picks,
yep, I want to see if you admit it.
2 out of 3 of us chose the Carolina Panthers to win the NFC South.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I chose the Falcons.
Well,
we were all wrong on that. But you guys were really wrong on that.
Terribly.
really wrong. In the West.
I'm waiting on you. I'm waiting to see if you admit it, though. I'm gonna see.
In the East, we all took the Eagles, and we were all wrong on that one. All 3 of us took the Eagles. In the North, we all took the Lions. We all hit that one. And in the West, B-Live, you chose the Seahawks. I chose every team, and ultimately at the last second picked the Rams, who did not win the division but did make the playoffs. And Eddie took the 49ers. He stuck with the Niners. And then here for the wild card, B-Live, you took the Cowboys and 49ers, who both made the playoffs, and the Vikings, who did not. I took the Vikings, Seahawks, and the Cowboys. And Eddie took the Cowboys, the Rams, and Seahawks. So we all kind of were close in there. We all missed a couple in there. In the AFC, B-Live, you have
couple. You missed a couple.
We all missed a couple, yeah.
I want you to admit who you missed, who didn't make the playoffs entirely to you. I want you to say it. I ain't gonna say it.
I just said everybody who I picked.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, since he won't admit it, I will admit it for him. That Scottie D didn't have the 49ers in the playoffs at all.
No, I did not. No, I did not.
He was wrong. I could be wrong about my Panthers, but the fact that you didn't even have the 49ers in the playoffs, they are arguably the best team in the NFC. Woo! Boy.
And the fact that you had the Panthers winning a division and they are inarguably the worst team in the NFL, I'd say
Are you telling? So you're telling me right now that my pick of the Panthers is worse than you're not picking the 49ers making the playoffs?
That is absolutely what I'm telling you. Yes.
I need Big Kenny.
Okay.
I need Big Kenny on this podcast right now. The disrespect. How dare you, sir?
Okay. Now.
You see how you dismissed me like that?
Well, I mean, if you want, we can keep talking about the Panthers and how they won a game this year and how I said that they should not trade up and instead just tank with one of those defensive players. And then you have a top 3 pick with a quarterback this year. But instead you guys took the little guy, roll tide guy who gave up a pick to get him.
I had no choice in this matter. I'm over here like.
Would you like to hear the wild cards or do you want me to keep hammering that point home?
You keep talking. Go ahead.
AFC wild card, Scott. What you got?
Okay. In the AFC, B-Live, you had the Bills, Bengals, and Dolphins. Not too bad. I had the Jets, Chargers, and Ravens. That was pretty bad. And Eddie, you had the Ravens, Steelers, and Dolphins.
3 for 3.
Yeah, he had the Ravens not winning the division, but making the playoffs as a wild card. And you're the only one that had the Steelers in the playoffs.
I told myself, I'm like, whatever the hell's going on. Like I said, somehow, some way, Pittsburgh, they always find a way to get there.
I was about to say, don't get on this podcast, start the line, but you actually did say that.
Yeah. and then I said what I just said too. They always find a way to get there. Because I said to myself, like the Steelers are bad. Because when I saw the game week 1, I said, okay, let's see how the season progressed. And the season did this, and the season did that, and then we wrote them off, and then they beat Baltimore in a rain-soaked game. And I was like, I said, you know what? It is what it is. Now that's 17 consecutive winning seasons for Mike Tomlin.
and 20 altogether for the franchise.
Wow. That's a level of consistency. All right. The third and final topic of this segment about football. All right. So it is Super Wild Card weekend, and Scottie D loves those Monday night playoff football games. We all know how he loves it. Yeah. All right. So which of the wild card weekend matchups do we find the most intriguing? All right, here we go. I'm gonna list a couple for you. Stafford versus Lions. All right.
Ooh.
The Rams versus the Lions. Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins versus Kansas City. And then we got Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys versus the Green Bay Packers. Which one of these do we find the most intriguing? I'm gonna go ahead and get it out the way. Matt Stafford and the Rams versus the Lions, because it's going to be Jared Goff versus Matt Stafford, a guy that went to the Super Bowl and didn't win versus the guy that got traded for and he went to the Super Bowl and he won it. The Rams are dangerous. I will say the Rams are dangerous. You can't sleep on them. Puka Nacua, he's still healthy. Cooper Kupp. The best thing about it is you can't. With them, you got to pick your poison. And then on top of that, you got Kyren Williams just running all up and down the field. So that's going to be an interesting matchup, to see the guy that won it and the guy that came close and didn't. So I'm just excited to see that matchup between Stafford and Goff. What about you, Scottie D?
Yeah, I'm going to have to say the obvious one because I am a Cowboys fan. And last year was the big game where Mike McCarthy went back to Green Bay for the first time. And the Cowboys had the Packers dead to rights, had them beat in the middle of the third quarter, and found a way to cough that one up and choke it away to a Green Bay team who didn't even end up making the playoffs last year. So this year we're getting them at our house. It's a big redemption step for McCarthy, not only for him to beat the team that let him go, but also if he would happen to lose that team, he might get eliminated by the Packers from his job. They will probably go forward with another head coach if he cannot win a wild card game at home, having the number 2 seed and 2 weeks worth of home playoff games at his fingertips. So that one is in that for me, obviously, as a Cowboy fan, that very interesting. A couple of the other ones, I'll say this one. If you guys would just tell me the Eagles and Buccaneers score and I didn't have to watch, I would be okay with that. But most of the other playoff games I do find interesting. And BeLive, tell us your most intriguing one because I have a feeling I may know which one it is.
Well, it's too easy. It's too easy, and it actually worked out that way because we're covering all three. Come on, man. Tyreek Hill literally said during the preseason that Tua is a more accurate and better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes, and we get to see it full on. Tua versus Patty. Oh my goodness! Yes. This is the matchup I'm most looking forward to.
Yeah, that's an exciting one for sure.
Oh man! And also, I want to see if the rumors were true that Jared Goff got kicked out of Los Angeles because he had a thing for Sean McVay's wife. So
yeah.
So guess what? Let me find out that Sean McVay's wife finds her way in a private suite in Detroit, and we really know why Jared Goff is back in Detroit, man. But yeah, I am full on ready for. Now here's the thing. I'm gonna say this: any other year, Miami versus Kansas City, this would be a high-scoring offensive juggernaut. But Kansas City can't score.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
I'm like, can they figure out their Kadarius Tonys and Valdez Scantling non-catching behinds of the world? And man, because
Miami had their fair share of struggles offensively as well against the Bills this past Sunday on a game that the Bills were trying desperately to give to Miami.
They tried to do
it. They got very creative in ways to march all the way down into the opposing territory and not score. They got very, very creative with that on Sunday. It was incredible. So Miami, I got to tell you, I don't like them to win this game. I really don't. As much I think missing Waddle is a big deal also for Tua because you got Cedric Wilson there and he threw him the ball like once, and he's got Claypool there. He threw him the ball like once, and the running game is actually pretty effective. But you got to be able to put it up, and I'm also, I got to tell you, I'm also very intrigued to see how this Cleveland Houston thing shakes out because you have a quarterback who's never been in the playoffs before, a rookie quarterback, against a guy who has won the Super Bowl before, but a month ago was in his PJs watching football on Sundays like we were. And he has played very well. So that to me is an intriguing. That's the first one. That's Saturday 4:30 game. That's the first. That's going to get this party started here this weekend. I'm intrigued by that one.
He was picking his toes and picking boogers.
You on PJ? You on pajamas?
I do.
Do
I got a pajama set.
Yeah, I wear my jammies on Sundays. My Dallas Cowboy jammies.
So as soon as you get back from church in your jammies, your Dallas Cowboy jammies.
I go to church, the gym, and I get something to eat on the way home, and jammy time it is for the rest of the day.
There's a difference between a white church and a black church.
All that time
between church and football. God.
I guess that's going to be the title of this week's episode: Church, Gym, Food, and Jammies.
Amen.
All right. With that being said, that does it for this portion. But looking at my watch, aka my phone, guess what time it is?
What time?
What time we got?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. It is time for our favorite portion of the show, the choices of
bowling
the voices.
Time.
Oh, you dirty. Let's give a shout out to the new mom and say, hey, yo, butt, hit it. Choices of the voices coming at you right here on the Sports Bros Podcast. All right, y'all, we got 8 minutes. You think you want to slide into it real quick?
I think let's go ahead and take that 10-minute and come back to it.
Scottie D, how you looking for time?
I got about half an hour.
All right, cool. Yeah, let's go ahead and take that 10 and regroup, all right?
Okay.
All right.
Alexa, set timer for 10 minutes.
Starting now.
See you in a little bit.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the new mother and so wonderful, so lovely, Ms. Button, for introducing our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. I got a belt. You know how we do it. We ask you the question, you give us the answer, and we opine, if you will, right here on the Sports Bros Podcast on our favorite section, the choices of the voices. Scottie D, what's on tap this week for the choices of the voices?
Coming in, we just asked you who we thought, or what you thought was your favorite bowl game, or the best played bowl game you saw of this college football season. And whereas one more that we have not seen, if you're listening or watching, you already know the result. One left on the table, but this is prior to the national championship game. And Eddie, what did the people say?
All right, let's get into it. The best name of the game, JoJo Comfort, he says, pretty tough to top the Rose and Sugar Bowls. Both were highly competitive and certainly lived up to the hype. Yeah, you're right about that. All right, John Wassey said it was supposed to be the national championship game with a big Bama win. That didn't happen, so I'll change it to the Orange Bowl. I think Florida State had a legitimate gripe about not making the Final Four, but man, no one showed up for that game. Wow. And then Scott Donnelly said, I'm going to put you down for Bama and Michigan.
Roll Tide there. Wozniak is a Tide guy. So.
All right. Tony Bogan said 2 games stand out to me. The first hurts as an Alabama fan. I didn't know he was in Alabama. Tony, you got some Southern roots we need to talk to you about because you like the Saints. You're right here wearing a Panthers hat. You're right here wearing a Coastal Carolina shirt. And we need to talk, Tony. We need to talk. I thought we were supposed to. All right. Shout out to TV, man. Good dude. He said the first hurts as an Alabama fan, but it was a good one. Monday's loss against Michigan in the Rose Bowl. The second one, the Barstool Arizona Bowl, right? He said, need to have you guys on commentary because the Barstool guys ain't it. I could have told you that. It was a good game, all things considered. So Tony Bogan said the Rose Bowl because it hurt him because Bama didn't win, and the Barstool Arizona Bowl, which should have had us up there. All right. Jeffrey Lewis, he said, why did Michigan get a first down after that blocking the back call on third down? And then Trey Dizzle said, Jeffrey Lewis, it was a spot foul. The penalty is enforced from the spot of the foul. Therefore, you're 20 yards past the first down, and you still would have a first down. Love it. All right. Amy Woodworth, she said the Peach Bowl, of course. Hot toddy Ole Miss. Ty Scott said Michigan over Washington with the last-minute touchdown, 28-21. Brian Livingston said, how do you pick the one bowl game that hasn't been played yet? And you of all people know my favorite bowl game this year. Then Ty Scott replied to Brian Livingston by saying, I'm just saying a prediction. And Brian Livingston, even though UK lost, I still think that was one of the top bowl games this year. So he was talking about was it Kentucky and Clemson?
Kentucky, Clemson. And of course, I'm gonna just go ahead and slide right on in there. So that was a perfect segue. Of course, my favorite was the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl between number 22 Clemson and Kentucky. Man, oh man. And the reason is simple. The first three quarters had a little something here, a little something there. Couldn't quite get their footing. Kentucky was up 21-10 after three quarters, and then the floodgates were open, and Clemson scored 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Kentucky only scored 14 points. Clemson came back, intercepted Kentucky on the last drive for a game final. 38 Clemson, the good guys, 35 Kentucky. And the reason why me and Ty were going back and forth, because we had actually planned on going to that game because he's a diehard Kentucky fan. And of course, you know, I bleed orange. And so he actually went to that game, and I couldn't get it off. I couldn't make that happen. But man, oh man, watching that game, me and him going back and forth, absolutely love that Clemson ends the season on a 5-game win streak.
We got him.
There you go, stealing again.
We got him.
Who is we? But then I'm just going to throw in there.
What about that joke? It don't line up. It don't line up.
Oh man, not even a bowl game, but just the name, just the poke and prod at Scottie D picking on me early in the game. Just the name of the bowl game, the Military Bowl, presented by GoBowling.com.
That's a good one.
No correlation whatsoever.
What prestige?
Presented by GoBowling.com, the Military Bowl held at the Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis, Maryland, the home of the United States Naval Academy. But I just had to throw out there a couple of those ridiculously named bowls and just some of the silliness. But all day, every day, all roads lead to Dabo. 12 bowl victories by Dabo Swinney, which is
okay. I think my choice is probably going to be
their entire history. You're gonna let me finish this because the Gamecocks have not won 12 bowl games in the entire history of their program.
So, Scottie D, what's your bowl?
So I think I also have to go with the Alabama-Michigan game. Two of the best teams in the country going at it. Alabama proving they deserve to be there over Florida State because Florida State didn't even show up to play against Georgia. They were ultimately inferior. But that game had everything you wanted. Back and forth battle and defensive struggles and overtime. So and I was admittedly was pulling for Michigan and Harbaugh. Eddie, what you got?
And a center that can't snap the ball worth a damn, and apparently apparently the center is in the transfer portal. Somebody said the only league he need to be in is a bowling league. Hopefully that's what they said, man.
Like B Live.
Like they said. Quick note. B Live's a choice of wardrobe. He does have a Kentucky blue shirt on. I don't know what that's all about, but
it's just a blue shirt. It fits.
It's Kentucky colors.
It's Kentucky blue. Yeah.
Now, see, I ain't go for all that. I ain't go for all that.
I'm saying that's why I wore the shirt because it's comfortable. It fits.
Hey, we're at that age where it's all about comfortability, not brands. Damn, man, I'm
Right.
not paying on.
Wearing pajamas during football games. That's it.
Yeah, jammy season. I would you, Scottie D, the Alabama Michigan game. I thought it was highly entertaining. Why did Nick Saban have Milroe run the ball is beyond me. You can't put nobody in motion. It's the classic case of bring on the water. Michigan knew what was going to happen, and they stopped it. So shout out to the Wolverines for finally thumping an SEC team, and I think they might win it.
Even Nick Saban said that wasn't the play call, but Milroe, once the ball was snapped at his ankles, he went into instinct mode and was like, yeah, the play was blown from the start just because of that snap. So, but yeah, you got to prepare. And I don't know what to tell you. Alabama, that's the mighty SEC. They're not in the championship game, and it just means more. But yeah, go ahead, whatever y'all say.
I mean, Michigan deserves it, man. Michigan deserves to be there, and at the time of this recording of the podcast, the game ain't been played yet. But all I got to say is, I'm pretty sure, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. So shout out to everybody for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. And with that being said, Scottie D, what's on tap for next week?
Well, this is kind of a fluid situation. So by the time we talk this and you hear this, it might be a little, you already may have some info on this, but the question we're going to pose to you, our fans, friends, followers, listeners, Choices of the Voices writers, where do you think Bill Belichick should be next year? Should he be coaching the Patriots once again? Should he be coaching another team? And if so, who? Or should he just throw on his jammies and watch football on Sundays like the rest of us? And that will give us something to talk about next week, Eddy Kool.
I'm telling you, after that post-game presser, he sounded sad.
He did sound sad.
He was a snarky, Bill Belichick was like, well, we're here now. I don't know. Me and Rob, we gonna talk about it, and that's what I gotta say about it. It walks off. Just a man of few words. You're not Bill Belichick is like that's the guy you take with you when you want to rob a bank. Because he ain't gonna say nothing. And if he does say nothing, says something, it's not going to be much. All right, that about does it for the Choices of the Voices. Coming up next, be live, grab the pepper grinder, because it's time for a round of pepper. Stay. Don't you dare go away. We'll be right back right here on the Sports Bros Podcast.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
All right, you heard the woman. It's time for us to go home and get what I call the hell up out of here. But before we go, you know how we do it. It's a round of pepper. 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really, here to engage, enlighten, educate, and entertain. The 4 E's in no particular order. With that being said, boop, I'll go first. On this day in history, in the year 2000, Miami Dolphins quarterback Dan Marino wins his final career NFL game. It is a 20-17 win versus the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Seahawks were still an AFC team at the time, and a few years later they would become an NFC team. And Dan Marino is just Dan Marino. If you ever want to see Dan Marino, he did a commercial a while back, and he was talking trash. Gotta love Dan Marino. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right, so this is more in our spring, summer, fall sports, but Rory McIlroy made a little bit of headlines in the world of golf. Following Jon Rahm's recent defection to the Live Golf, Rory proclaimed that maybe he had earlier been too judgmental when it came to Live Golf opposing PGA. Greg Norman, the king of Live Golf, countered by saying he's appreciative that Rory said that and kind of fell on his sword. Are we making nice now, Rory and Live? Meanwhile, Live and PGA were supposed to be coming together with the some kind of partnership under the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund. That is still in the process of being worked out. But you gotta wonder, with Rory softening, is he headed to Live? I tell you this, if he does go, I believe that the PGA will never be the same. It's going to change everything. If you have Rahm go, And then Rory goes, what's that leave us? Be Live, as you have on the tip of your tongue, lots of changes in the world of golf.
Absolutely. And it's a perfect segue because you would just think it's synonymous that these two, like it's one with the other, like, but Tiger Woods and Nike are going separate ways after 27 years.
Oh.
Tiger wearing the red polo with the Nike swoosh is no more. And I bet money that, oh my goodness, Tiger and his phone will be blowing up because everybody and their grandma right now is trying to get that sponsorship.
He probably already has a red tailor-made shirt for his next event.
Pretty sure of it. That's just like Michael Jordan no longer being with Nike, which will never happen. But you would think Tiger Woods and Nike were synonymous.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Eddy Kool, the ball.
I think the last commercial aired today, if I'm not mistaken, from what I saw across the interwebs. All right, fellas, I don't know if you remember me talking a few weeks ago about Carolina Panthers tight end Hayden Hurst. He suffered a concussion and it caused him to lose memory. And he said on Monday that he has cleared concussion protocol over the weekend. David Newton reports of ESPN.com, reading this off of CBSSports.com. Hayden Hurst's season ended week 10 when he suffered a concussion. He'd been dealing with post-traumatic amnesia in the wake of the brain injury, but it sounds like he's back to full health. Now, Hurst signed a 3-year, $21.5 million deal with the Carolina Panthers last offseason, but only caught 18 passes for 184 yards and 1 touchdown on 32 targets in his first season with the Carolina Panthers. I'll tell you what, man. He's one of my favorite Gamecocks. Hayden Hurst is. I've been watching him from Atlanta to Carolina. I think he had a stint with the Bengals, if I'm not mistaken. So it's good to see that Hayden Hurst is back and he's ready. So once the Panthers get an improved coaching staff and a new GM to know what the hell he's doing, maybe they'll make some noise next year. Because guess what? If we bomb next year, we still ain't got no first-round draft pick. Over you, Scottie D. I'm tired of this team.
So on Sunday, LeBron James and the Lakers defeated the Clippers to up their win streak to 1 game. LeBron posterized Paul George and then says he hopes the Lakers can build on this win. A 1-game winning streak. You're 18-19 Lakers. You got LeBron, you got Anthony Davis, you got Reeves and Shinsuke Nakamura. You're 18-19. You're on the outside of the playoffs looking in. Do better. That's all I got. Just do better. Be Live.
Hey, they got an in-season tournament banner, man.
That's awesome. Do better, man. Come on. 18-19 before the All-Star. Yeah, come on. Do better.
Carolina Panthers, could you at least now finally draft somebody from Clemson? Because you can clearly see the South Carolina guy.
Stop. He had a concussion. Ooh, I'm going to kick your ass. He had a concussion, Be Live. Take a little bit of pepper.
Second round of pepper. This would normally be my 3rd round of pepper, but you'll find out why. But second round of pepper. Draymond Green. Says that he was going to retire because the suspension has been weighing on him heavily.
No, he wasn't.
Adam Silver talked him out of retirement.
No, he didn't.
I don't believe that for one second. Cut it out. Nobody believes that mess.
No.
Stop with your podcast with the lies and trying to get clickbait, bruh. I need you to do better.
Do better.
Eddy Kool, the ball. Golly.
As soon as I read it, I was like, No. I'm like, Scott, no.
But how the kids say it? Stop the cap.
Yeah.
Stop the cap. You capping, bro.
Stop the cap. Because it's like, anyways. All right. So this came out today, actually. It said Aaron Rodgers, courtesy of ABC News, says the Jets need to flush the BS in 2024. This comes courtesy of ABC News, and it goes as follows. The New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers trying to create a winning culture for 2024. Offered a few words of advice for the organizations. Flush the bull junk. It's not junk, but you know what he said. All right. So he said that Rodgers responding to a question that what can be learned from the 7 and 10 season, said that they need to eliminate distractions. The four-time MVP who created headlines throughout the year with his weekly appearances on the Pat McAfee show, most recently last week with controversial remarks about talk show host Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, I forgot all about that. And the organization must maintain a singular focus in order to shed its losing ways. And he said, quote, anything in this building that we're doing individually or collectively that has nothing to do with real winning needs to be assessed. Rodgers told reporters, adding, if you want to be a winning organization and put yourself in position to win championships and be competitive, everything that you do matters. And the bull junk that has nothing to do with winning needs to get out of the building. So that'll be the focus moving forward, and that's the focus of these, and he exits the interviews. He just pew at these, and that's it. You shouldn't have took all that money, and you should have kept Devontae, and this mess would have never happened. But look who made the playoffs this year, the Green Bay Packers. Ain't that something? Scottie D, over to you.
Yeah, I always, I'm not a fan of Aaron Rodgers. I always feel like he's the turd that just won't flush. But don't you find it odd that Jimmy Kimmel makes fun of people, and the first time he gets the zinger right back at him, he wants to sue? What you know about that? All right, so
and he's supposed to be a comedian.
He's a comedian, yeah, but he didn't like that joke. That joke wasn't funny. Yeah. Look, so Sunday, while all the important stuff was going on, something unimportant happened that kind of sticks in my craw a little bit, and that was the New Orleans Saints lining up in victory formation on the 1-yard line against the Atlanta Falcons for the kneel down play, only to hand off and let Jamal Williams rumble for a 1-yard touchdown. That's made Arthur Smith, the coach of the Falcons, so angry, he approached Saints coach Dennis Allen, yelled at him, and then went in the locker room and got fired. But that's neither here or there. It shouldn't have happened. It wasn't called for by the coach. Jamal Williams he's not like Terry McLaurin. McLaurin of the Commanders got fed a pass right at the end of the Redskins. The Commanders blowout loss to the Cowboys just so he could get over the 1,000-yard mark and reach a milestone for the 4th straight season. That's not what this was. This was the guys wanting to get Jamal Williams a touchdown because he hadn't had one this year. He had like 30 of them last year. It's not like this dude's never scored before. Just because he didn't get one this year, he'll get one again next. That was crap, and the Falcons players have every right to be angry and upset. If you want to run a play, line up in a regular formation and then run the play. Don't get in victory formation and act like you're going to just be gracious and kneel down and then cram one down your throat. That was insulting. That was awful. And I'd probably cut Jameis over that one. Well, I don't know if I would, but right today I would. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that one, B-Live. Take me home.
I'm surprised Arthur Smith didn't bust Dennis Allen's ass. Go ahead, B-Live.
I'm glad he didn't, though, because he actually didn't have any. They defied his commands of kneeling down, and they did that on their own.
Yeah, James Winston, do better. I understand why, but man, that just wasn't the place. Well, normally, ladies and gentlemen, we have a pre-production meeting before we record and everything, talk about what we're going to talk about, and so we don't step on each other's toes. But it just so happens that we're stepping on toes this week because my third and final pepper point was about Aaron Rodgers. I can't get away from that. He says flush the. If we're gonna flush a turd, it's you, Aaron Rodgers. You're the distraction. As soon as you got hurt, if this whole preseason, regular season, has been all about Aaron Rodgers. You're on the Pat McAfee show every single week.
Every week.
Talking about stuff that ain't got nothing to do with football, especially Jimmy Kimmel. Like, bruh, You cause all these headlines. You are the distraction.
Yeah.
To be flushed.
Yeah.
And this is, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Anything in this building that we're doing individually or collectively that has nothing to do with real winning needs to be assessed. That's you.
Yeah. I'm going to play with my Achilles torn. Nah, 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 nah.
It is, I can't believe he said that out of his mouth. He said that. Does he not realize that he's a distraction? Like, every single week, Robert Saleh has to answer questions about Aaron Rodgers. Every single week, Zach Wilson had to answer questions about Aaron Rodgers. Every single week, any Jets, like, it was Aaron Rodgers.
Go lay in a dark room.
Please, stay there. Stay in the darkness with your ayahuasca. You're a distraction. You were a distraction all season long. And you sit, boy.
And like I said, and look at Green Bay, they wound up making the playoffs.
They made the playoffs and they look good. Jordan Love, it looks good.
Bye, Felicia.
Aaron Rodgers, you'll be so glad. I'm going to say this on behalf of a bunch of people. I don't know how my other bros feel about it, but I'll be so glad when this whole this sitcom, because it's situational comedy, will be over with when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. This is comedic. You're not going to win the Super Bowl. It's over. Let it go. I'd just walk away right now. But you want to be a distraction. You are the distraction, and I can't wait until somebody flushes you down that watery hole.
And from what I saw earlier today, I think the Jets are going to part ways with Zach Wilson. So I guess we got another season of the Aaron Rodgers show.
That should have been happened. They turned their back on Zach Wilson a long time ago. Poor kid. I mean, some of that's on himself because he just can't play NFL quarterback. And he put some of that on himself. But Aaron Rodgers did not. Aaron Rodgers, oh boy, I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Got
time to ball.
I want to throw Aaron Rodgers' head down the lane and hit a few pins.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you for watching and listening to the Sports Bros Podcast. You can check out everything there is the Sports Bros Podcast. Just click the description link, and Scottie D is chest naked. And then in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They'll greatly appreciate it now more than ever. Be a blessing, not a burden. Hey, Atlanta, I'll see you on Saturday for my brother's 60th birthday. It's going to be a movie, an episode, if you will. There's been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. Be live, take us home.
Aaron Rodgers, Into the Darkness. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Go there and stay there. Yeah, it's been another episode of Sports Bros Podcast. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Rate, review, support, subscribe. Apple Podcast, iHeart, Amazon Music. Yeah, we're there too. Spotify, listen to us, holler at us, talk to us. Love you. Bye. See you next week. Hey, it's Eddy Kool here from the Sports Bros Podcast. Thank you for listening, and as always, continue to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Just click the link in the description box and keep up with the Sports Bros Podcast. And once again, thanks for listening.